Okay, I'm sitting here with Mr. Lennox Scott. Lennox is the CEO and owner of John L. Scott, large regional franchise here in the Northwest. We got offices in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and California. So we're excited to talk to Lennox. He just gave a great presentation to our office group this morning about the statistics going on in the Northwest. And Lennox, thank you so much for being here.
Well, Jim, I just really appreciate the invitation, and what a great team that John L. Scott Southern Oregon is. One of the top teams in the nation. Great service for your clients.
Thank you. It's always fascinating to listen to you because you get a perspective of the Northwest, but on a broader scale, also the nation, because you're involved with NAR at a leadership level.
Yes, at the National Association of Realtors, I'm able to get a real good perspective of what's taking place in the nation. A lot of great conversations with our lead economist, Lawrence Yoon, and just keeping up to date on the market, helping drive it forward.
So it's interesting, we were talking during the office meeting about the 10-year mega cycle. Yeah, we get a lot of our buyers and sellers who naturally look at the market and they, there's fear. They say, is this a bubble market? Is the market going to end sometime soon? What's going to happen when it ends? What's your take on that based on your experience, based on what you're hearing at the national level?
Well, I've been in business 42 years, so I've been through 4 cycles already, and this will be my 5th.
Wow.
And this cycle, real estate goes in a 10-year cycle, and it follows the U.S. economy. So when the U.S. economy slows down a little bit, that slows down the real estate market. What's coming up ahead in probably a couple of years, because we've had about 7 years overall of a really phenomenal real estate market. The market does take a little bit of a rest, but it's going to be more of an adjustment. Not a major correction like we saw in year 2006 and 2007. That was based off of lax lending standards.
Sure.
Today's market is healthy buyers, some all cash buyers in today's market, secure in their home, secure in their community. And so jobs will come off a little bit, maybe interest rates go up a little bit, and that creates a little bit of a pause in the market, and it won't affect the more affordable and mid-price ranges, to much of a degree. It just have a little bit of a pause, but then we get into the next 10-year cycle. And the next 10-year cycle, prices normally go up 30% every 10 years.
That's the average.
Yeah, that's the average.
Wow.
And so we're expecting that once again. And so this adjustment will be like year 2000 and 1990. It won't be like the Great Recession we just went through,
sure,
or 1980 Great Recession, or the biggest one, the Great Depression.
Right.
So it's not like any of those. This is just a normal adjustment cycle that we go through every 10 years.
Now, we're not oracles. We can't time the market, of course, but you talked about Blackstone.
Yes.
The largest owner of residential real estate in the country.
Yes.
$500 billion under contract. And you talked about what his prediction was.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, I watched the financial news channels, and the CEO of Blackstone was on, and they own over 100,000 homes in America, and they do have that $500 billion underneath management of investments. And they were stating they see the U.S. economy staying at this really strong level for another 2 years at this level, and so we're at a very extremely healthy market. But say it comes back off of this extreme growth back down to strong. That's still positive,
right,
but there is that little deceleration time frame the market goes through for about 9 months, and it'll happen a couple years down the road. But I don't see it happening through into next year, or we might even go one more cycle after that before it flattens out.
And what we tell our agents and our brokers is that's actually natural and healthy, and we want that. Yeah. We don't want a straight up market because that creates an unhealthy market environment.
And also, Jim, you buy and sell within same market timing. So you buy and sell now, or you buy and sell a year from now, or if there's a slight adjustment whatsoever, you buy and sell then. You're sitting with the same net seller asset equity. Yeah. So when you buy and sell in the same market, it's all relative.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So when we talk about, you have a very interesting perspective, I think, different than probably any other residential brokerage leader in America, because you sit right here in the Northwest where we sell here in Southern Oregon. Tell us your perspective on which affects our market, Seattle, Portland, maybe San Francisco.
Yes, as the major metropolitan areas heat up, then the buyers start coming into a destination paradise here in Southern Oregon. Right. So, and that's exactly what's happening. So, Seattle and San Francisco are off the charts. Portland was leading the nation for job growth percentage for many years. They're taking a little bit of a pause this summer. We'll see where it goes from there. It's not necessarily a trend right now, but it's a little bit of a pause. But these markets are off the charts because of job growth, and that's what's spurring the buyers to come into the marketplace right now in big numbers.
Interesting. So the thing that we see in our own market is we're selling 70% of the listings that we take here at Lennox Scott, and we sell them within the first 30 days. 70% sell them first 30 days for 99% list price.
Wow.
It's as you described, a frenzy market, depending on the price point. Obviously, the higher the price, the smaller the buyer pool.
Yes.
And so the market changes when you get to maybe 750 and above. Are you saying the same kind of price frenzy in Seattle, Portland, and other markets that you're serving?
Well, definitely. The first 30 days is the best opportunity to sell a home at the best price. And I'm very impressed with you selling so many of new listings within the first 30 days. Yeah. That's just flat out great marketing. Because it takes a professional to really help a seller get that home sold at the best price. And that's what we do through our program. It's called Seller Listing Launch, what we're doing that. So in the major metropolitan area, you always see a higher percentage of new listings sell in the spring because there's a buyer pool comes out after the holidays. That holiday buyer backlog of buyers come out, but the new listings don't show up in bigger numbers until March and April. And by the end of April, we've satisfied that winter buyer pool. And then the new listings that come on during the summer, there's the biggest listing months.
Sure.
But and in the summer, buyers are spread out over more properties. So there's dispersed buyer energy.
There's more to choose from.
There's more to choose from.
Gotcha.
So so the percentage of homes selling in the first month drops about 10%, maybe 15% in the summer. Still the best months for sales activities in the summer.
Sure.
But individually, there are fewer homes selling that first month. So sellers need to be a little bit more conscious in the summertime on pricing strategies, what's going on with their peer group of homes that they're competing against, and that's where our professionals come in to give them that market knowledge.
So this is interesting when you talk about, because we just experienced this in April here in Jackson County. We had a 27% increase in the number of listings that hit the market compared to April 2017.
Right.
So we had about 100 more homes to the market, exactly what you're describing. And so we had a massive April. It was a huge April for us because the buyers finally had something to buy. There just wasn't any inventory before. May, we're still having a great month, but not necessarily the same level of frenzy. So some of our sellers are having to think about pricing a little bit more competitively.
Right, and that happens every summer. This is very predictable. We make the statement, this is the best time for buyers to get a home is during the summer because there's so much more to choose from. And the market really is driven off the new listings.
So let's talk about, because you brought up an interesting concept, and I've been in business 30 years, so a long time too.
Yes.
About this concept of a peer group, which we often look at competition, but using that language, peer group with the seller. What exactly to you does a peer group mean?
Well, a peer group is probably around 10 homes. It could go up to 15 maybe, but 10 homes that I'm going to monitor about how are they doing, because they fit my same profile, same price range, same area of town.
Sure.
And so if I can look to see which one sold, which one lowered their price, what new listing came on the market, and I, as a seller, would probably drive by each one of them. And they can go to our mobile app at Lennox Scott mobile app and be able to see all the other homes and drive by them and go through some of them when they want to, or why did that home sell? With this one, how am I positioned? That's what we're really focused on is how are we positioning the seller that we represent to be that next home to sell.
And we talk about this as being relative because it changes. One of our agents listed $1 million house in East Medford recently. 30 days went by, he went back in and checked his peer group,
yes,
the other homes that are about $1 million, and 15 new listings that hit the market over $1 million.
Yes.
And so they had to kind of figure, hey, where are we at competitively?
Yes.
and reposition themselves in the market to be more competitive. And I think that plays right to what you're saying. A peer group is super important. And a lot of agents don't necessarily look at those changes in the market that happen over time.
Yes.
For us at John L. Scott, we're trying to make sure we're watching that almost on a daily basis.
Right.
We've got some great tools for that. One of the things that we use is, well, you talk about it. So we have two great tools for that.
Yeah, a fabulous tool besides the mobile app is a program we call Property Tracker.
Yeah.
So that you can get a email notification when a new listing hits the market in your local market area, whether it be a neighborhood or a community. And that's a pretty a great program.
That's great.
Yeah.
So as a seller, you could, or your agent or you could sign yourself up.
Yes.
So look for a property that's, similar to what you're selling.
Yes.
Price range, neighborhood wise. And then as new listings hit the market, bingo, you're seeing your peer group.
Yeah, you're the first to know, and you can observe what the price they're coming out on, or if you're a buyer, you'd be the first to know, so you have an opportunity to buy the home.
Yeah, and check it out.
Yeah.
Now we've got something here at John L. Scott, which I think is unique in the nation, which is instant text notification. Tell us how that works.
Oh boy, that's a pretty special program. If I were a buyer, I'd be signed up on John L. Scott Property Tracker to get the instant text notification. So instead of getting a once a day email, you're getting a text, when after the home comes on the market.
The one that matches your criteria.
Yeah, you put in the area and the price range of the home that you're looking for, and that's what comes across the text. That's pretty instant. We're into real-time real estate.
That's awesome, because I think in our market where you are in a low inventory market like the rest of the Northwest, pretty much, hours can matter. And if you get an hour or two advantage over another buyer who's looking in the same range as you, that could make the difference between getting the house and not.
Well, you want to be buyer ready day one, and this isn't just a quick action market. This is an instant response market, and it will be forever because of the internet.
Yeah.
Because there's other people that have been looking for a home. When they see that new listing come on, they're going to jump on it, and you want to make sure you have that advantage yourself as a buyer.
So when we come back after the break, I want to talk to you about this concept of the backlog of buyers.
Yes.
And as we are competing as a buyer to try to find the house of our dreams, being qualified day one.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that next.
We will.
Okay, we're back with Lennox Scott. We were talking before the break about this concept of a buyer backlog. What does that mean to the consumer? What does a buyer backlog mean?
Well, it means a lot to a seller. Because when you put a home on the market, I believe that 80% of the time, the people that are going to buy that home the first month have been buyers who are already in the market. They know the area they want to buy in, the price of the home, the mortgage payment. If they have kids, they know schools, they know the style of home. They're just waiting for that next home to come on.
Sure.
And what happens with this backlog of buyers is when that home comes on, they get locked on to that home. And then they start thinking about, well, somebody else might be looking at that home. Competition. And so that's why we believe there's a seller advantage in price negotiation that lasts for about 3 weeks. Is because the buyers also know there's other potential buyers out there. And then that creates price support when two or more come in, or multiple people start looking at the house. It creates price support for the seller. Then we go into a term that we're using this year. Our word of the year is certainty.
Love it.
Because a seller wants certainty that the offer that they accept is the one that's going to close.
Yeah, that it's actually a solid offer.
That's a solid offer. And the best certainty, of course, is all cash.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah, but not everybody can be all cash.
Right.
So the next step isn't just being pre-approved, but it's being fully underwritten before you sign the contract.
So this is interesting. We hear a lot about pre-approval.
Right.
What's the difference between pre-approval and fully underwritten?
Fully underwritten is you've actually gone through the process with the mortgage company, their underwriting department, to be fully underwritten. They check all the financial data and
employment history,
pay stubs, everything before you sign the agreement. And if I were a buyer in many markets, especially if it's a competitive market or a price range, I would get myself fully underwritten.
Fully qualified.
Because I want to put myself ahead of everybody who's just pre-approved.
Interesting.
because the seller is obviously going to take my deal. I can close faster. I can close in 12 days,
right?
Not 40 days or whatever it might be. The seller knows I still need to get the appraisal done.
Sure.
But the process is fast. There's certainty, and we're ready. The buyer's ready to go.
So the only thing left would then be getting the house qualified, which means an appraisal.
Yes,
so
that's it.
We've eliminated the question marks about is this buyer going to have a problem getting qualified. So
this is the ultimate buyer-ready day one. Not only fully underwritten, but they're also getting the text notification when the homes come on the market. They've gone through the counseling of the competitive nature of the marketplace, so that they're psychologically ready. They've seen the other homes to be able to move forward in this instant response market that we're in.
So when we talk about certainty with cash buyers, because we had a lot of those questions from our own sellers as well. I want to sell to a cash buyer, which is always fantastic.
Yes.
Again, we study that internally, and about a quarter of our sales are cash buyers.
That's a lot. That's good.
That's good, 25%.
Yeah.
But if you use the inverse of that, that means 75% of the buyers you're going to deal with from a seller side of the fence are going to be buyers that have some level of mortgage. So having this concept of being fully underwritten, huge. I think it's a great way to approach the market.
And it also works for the buyer. It creates certainty for the buyer that they really can afford this house.
Right.
Or if they get in a competitive situation, how far can they compete to get that individual house? Because as interest rates are changing up or down, that also changes your buying power.
Sure.
And being fully underwritten ahead of time, you know with certainty what the situation is as a buyer.
There's no question marks.
No questions.
So you talked about having price support, which, as we've had this kind of uptrending market, the sellers sometimes think that they can just price their home at any level and they're going to sell. And sometimes, some sellers have been spoiled and they have been able to sell. But we're starting to see where the market is having a little bit, in our market, price resistance. In other words, buyers are starting to say, wait a second, I'm not going to just go infinity here. Right. I want to have some level of support. But what you're saying is in the first 2 to 3 weeks, if we're doing a good job on the marketing side and we're able to generate a multiple offer situation that creates price support.
Yes, it sure does. Or get a buyer during that first 2 or 3 weeks, because there's this psychological price support when you're representing the seller, because there is the possibility other buyers, they are looking.
Right.
And so that's why there is that seller negotiation, the price negotiation advantage at that time.
But that requires that you priced it right to begin with.
You bet. And we know it takes 5 rights to make a sale. House right, yard right, price right, marketing right, and the right broker associate. All 5 of those make a difference in the value of one's property.
Let's talk about marketing, because there's a difference between marketing and advertising. And you're a big advocate of this concept of what a professional realtor, whether it's a John L. Scott realtor, we certainly hope it is, is going to bring to the table, so that we can not just advertise but market your home. How do you describe that?
Yes, for sellers, we showcase their home in the best light to get the best price. Right. And advertising, all companies do advertising. Now, we do a pretty phenomenal job.
Sure.
And that's through the internet, it's through the quality photos, getting the exposure, the individual brokers, associate. That's a big part of marketing also. But just the advertising on the internet is the baseline. And we reach virtually 100% of all buyers through advertising.
Sure.
But where the difference comes in is we put in 30% extra effort during the most critical time of selling a home, and that's the first 3 weeks. That's when we really market to the backlog of buyers. Sure. We hold the houses open. We help stage. The marketing materials add value to a home. The quality of the marketing materials, the quality of the photos, all those things matter when we're selling a property, because it's showtime. That first nanosecond that home comes on the market is showtime, and you want a professional broker there that networks with the other brokers. Sure. Because we network with those that sell a lot of homes. But we're also the goodwill ambassadors for those that are maybe just getting started or really don't know the market area. We're helping that seller get those transactions together, and that's there's some sales in there.
Makes a difference. Well, if it adds one sale, it makes a difference.
It does.
If you're exposing the home to 5, 10 extra buyers, that could create that price support, multiple offer energy,
Yep.
And you can get a premium price for the property.
Yeah, and we've trademarked a new phrase of our service level.
What's that?
Trusted representation for the best results.
Love it.
Because it's that trust that we have with that individual seller to be their representative, to be their advocate, as if it were my own home. This is how I would market your home and represent you, and then for the best results. You know, we walk in the positive outcome of providing the best results for that seller. That's just who we are. That's in us. We do 36,000 transactions a year, but they're done one transaction at a time.
Every seller matters, every buyer matters.
Yeah, with us and that individual client, either buyer or seller.
So you talked about that 70% of sellers don't know who they're going to actually work with. And how do they discover that? How do they figure that out?
Well, the majority of homeowners, their agent that they bought their home from, they don't remember their name or they're no longer in the business.
That's fascinating.
So about 70% don't have a selected broker.
Wow.
And so what we do is we keep in contact with our relationships that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and then we do activities to meet new people.
Mm-hmm.
Because an informed homeowner, when it comes times to sell, that's where they want our service level and our connection, our marketing, or helping them buy a home.
And we've got a couple of tools at John L. Scott when it comes to consultation. And consultation is really what I think we bring to the table. It's a differentiator for us in that we want to arm our clients with good information so they make great decisions.
You bet.
And that's having that trusted relationship with our clients. And two tools that we love here at John L. Scott is Cloud CMA, but also Trend Graphics. And Can you touch on those for a second?
Well, they're both fabulous programs, and it's a way for us to go through the data in the marketplace and put it in an organized format so we can show it to the seller so they can also see the logical conclusions of the information we're providing. It compares it to their other peer groups of the other homes that are in the marketplace that buyers are also looking at in their price range. It gives the trend lines, because we do a market analysis of the home value,
Sure.
but that's based on those that have sold or pending or the current homes on the market.
Mm-hmm.
But also we look at what are the trends in the marketplace, what's coming up ahead, what time of year is it? Because we know a higher percentage of homes sell on a monthly basis in the spring of new listings than the summer, 15% more. Anytime's a good time to sell because you buy and sell within the same market timing, but sellers just, we can inform them as to the strategies, because it is a marketing and pricing strategy plan.
Gotcha.
That's what we bring forward for them. It's not just about what's my price and what's your commission. It's really about what am I going to do to showcase your home, to get the best price, to get your home sold over anything else out there. It's that personal representation.
In our company, the way we use Trend Graphics, which I think is interesting, is most companies talk about comparable sales, which is what we do too with Cloud CMA, which is a beautiful product.
Yeah.
Pulls MLS data directly into the system. We can look at comparable sales, the peer group.
Yeah.
But what we find that's valuable with Trend Graphics is that we're able to look at trend lines.
Yes.
Which is different than comparables.
Right.
And so it's valuable on the seller side to give them some indication of where, positionally where they should be in the market and where the trend is going. But it also is great for buyers because buyers can look at two different neighborhoods and see one that's appreciating at higher levels than others. Would you agree?
Definitely, you bet. It allows us to go over the nuances to the specific market.
Kind of a deep data dive.
You bet.
That other companies that don't do that, which I think is important. And a real, again, a differentiator in consultation versus just selling. We all like to buy, but we don't like to be sold. Right?
That's right.
we want to actually be walked through a process
and
feel comfortable about the process. And at John L. Scott, I know we take that very seriously.
Yeah.
We're going to come back. We got some more information to cover. That's going to be really, I think, in depth and great for consumers. So thank you so much, Lennox, for everything you're telling us so far.
Thanks.
I'm back with Lennox Scott, CEO of John L. Scott here in the Northwest. Fantastic company. I'm also a part of it. We're going to talk a little bit just about the company culture because one of my great, my own mentors, Jolie Johnson, who I worked with for years, fantastic, powerful woman in the real estate industry. She gave me something years ago, which I've always held on to, and she said, Jim, culture beats strategy every day of the week. And I always talk about that when I'm talking to people at meetings and so forth, because I think this company exemplifies that. What it means is that you can have great strategy,
Yep.
but if the culture sucks and you don't want to come to work every day, it doesn't really matter, right?
Right.
You gotta have a culture of excellence, a culture of giving back, a culture of community. So you want to come to work, you're excited, you're passionate about what you do.
Yep.
And Lennox, I'd like you to speak to that because you create the culture here.
Well, just by hearing you say that, I want to come to work for you. I'll tell
Good,
you that
I
right
hope
now.
so.
So, we've received a lot of recognition as a company for what we're doing, and we're recognized as one of the top 20 residential real estate brands in the nation. And we're just a little small company up here in the Northwest, and you have such a great team here in Southern Oregon. But it's so much bigger than that. We do the 36,000 transactions, but it's one transaction at a time. It's about the possibilities in our clients' lives.
Right.
That's where we get our excitement from. But it's even beyond that. Transactional excellence is what we do within our business, working with each client, for the best for them. But our higher purpose as a company, we have this as our core value. And now we call it our living legacy, is living life as a contribution.
I love it.
And living life as a contribution in everything we do. And that's where our heart is. We want to be the best we can for our clients, our buyers, our sellers, and just the people, the homeowners and the relationships we have. We want to be great teammates for each other. And then we take it home with our family and friends, community, and place of faith. So we are so fortunate to be in the real estate industry where we get to experientially be a contribution at the highest level to our client. But that comes from this core. And another thing that exemplifies this is our work with the John L. Scott Foundation.
Yeah, tell us about that because you created this amazing culture of giving to this organization that helps families.
Well, yeah, and it's all of us together. It's each one of our broker associates, our support team, and our leadership team. We give into the John L. Scott Foundation. Through closing, yeah. Through each closing, and then we sponsor throughout the Northwest 30 events for 19 children's hospitals.
Wow.
And those events help raise $15 million each year, to support children's health care. And our statement is, we want to see the kids healthy and at home. But that's experientially at the core of who we are as a company. And then we serve dinner at Ronald McDonald houses, and we get to talk to the parents and through them with their kids, and just be that spirit for them.
Just giving back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Locally here at John L. Scott, we support, of course, the Children's Miracle Network, the John L. Scott Foundation. So we are big supporters of that. We also have our own Earth Angels Foundation, which we've created, which also helps families in need that sometimes fall through the cracks.
Yes.
So one of our things that we do every year is we feed 49 families during the holiday season, the Christmas season. We put together a nice box for them of food and gifts and things for their family, and we hand deliver those. So it's some great work that the foundation does here locally for our company as well, which I think plays to this isn't all about just transactions. It's about being a part of a community.
Yes.
And being connected to the community. And I think that's a lot about what makes John L. Scott such a special place to work at. Would you agree?
Oh, you bet. And we are advocates for the community. We walk in joy with the local community, the spirit. We add to the spirit of the community. And it's just who we are and where we are.
How we live.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Lennox. You've done a fantastic job building this organization throughout the Northwest. We're looking forward to some great things coming.
Yeah.
I know you're just going to do some more amazing things going forward.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is that long enough, Peter?
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
We could do one more on the speaking the language of miracles.
Oh, let's do that.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Continue.
You
Just
plug that
continue
in.
on. No, continue on, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, you can add whatever you want.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
Okay.
So my wife.
Yeah.
Lennox, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Deanna, your wife, and you told a fantastic story about her son and his survival of a major impact that he had on his life, and what's come of that, which is her fantastic book called The Language of Miracles. Yes, I'd like you to speak to that a little bit.
Well, it's just my wife Deanna and her son is such an inspiration. A couple of years before I met Deanna, she had helped her son beat cancer.
Wow.
and he was at Children's Hospital for 8 months, in the hospital the whole time.
How old was he?
He was 10 years old. And today he's 23.
Wow.
He's cancer-free.
Nice.
But my wife shared with me when I met her about her approach in life and an approach, particularly in this situation, a life-threatening situation, because back then the success rate was not that high for this type of cancer that he had. And the statement is, remember, the illness is not who my son is. You know, my son is a healthy child of God, and Brandon would make his declarations. I'm a healthy child of God. I have strong, healthy blood cells throughout my body. They put in positive photos of him playing sports
in the hospital.
In the hospital room. Every wall was that way. And so, and they talked to the doctors, the nurses, all the friends, the coaches visiting. You know, just remember, the illness is not who he is. He's still Brandon. He's still that positive spirit. And then later, they wrote a book this last couple of years called "Speaking the Language of Miracles," and it's about how the language and the process going through this, and then how it applies to all the areas of one's life. And it's, remember, the situation is not who you are, because situations come up every day.
Sure.
It's just a situation.
Right.
Then, and we take a look now at how we apply this to business, is we take a look at a 5-step approach. What is the situation?
Sure.
We investigate it to see if we want to move forward on it or how we want to do it.
Right.
Then we create a declaration of who we are in the positive outcome. You know, we're not going to live inside the situation. We're going to say, this is who I am because I say so, and this is the outcome I'm going after.
Right.
And then step 4 is, what are the activities to back up that declaration? And step 5 is the sensing and tracking how I'm doing on a periodic basis. Because if we don't do that, the conversation disappears.
Now, you related this to yourself when you met me in 2008, right?
Right. Yeah. During the Great Recession, I asked Deanna, I said, how are you doing so well in your business? She was a dog groomer, and all her friends were going out of business. And she just says, I am not the situation, I'm not the recession. And she just walked in the powerful spirit, and she attracted people to her because she was the force, of that energy that people were looking for.
She wasn't the situation.
No, she wasn't the situation, and that's how we apply it in our business. You know, we are seller marketing specialists. We're buyer representation specialists. We're the first point of contact for our relationships that we have, and then we do the activities to back that up. The training, the marketing, the relation, keeping in connection, keeping the market updates so that people can keep informed to make informed decisions. We do that as we go forward, and that's who we are as a company.
And this speaks to, we all face challenge. We all face adversity. We all face competitive challenges in business and in life.
Yes.
And I love this idea that we're not the situation. And
Right.
it really almost, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, but it almost doesn't matter what's happening out there. It's all about how we're approaching
Yes.
life, right?
Oh, totally. And so the situation is, we energize ourselves when we see a situation, because they come up every day, or in competitive nature, like you said.
Right.
It's not about the situation.
No.
It's about going through reflection, renewal of spirit, re-energizing ourselves of who we are. It's nothing about the situation. It's about who I choose to be from this point forward in regards to that. And we're just so blessed that we can be our very best this moment of this day and every moment of every day.
Love it. We're going from good to great and great to greatness, right?
You bet.
That's the defining factor of improvement, living the life of the Easter philosophy of Kaizen, incremental improvement every
Yes.
day, and really embracing the fact that it's all about us. And
Yeah.
It's all about what we do. It's all about choice. And our choices daily compound over time to a life.
Yes. And Jim, we can feed ourselves positive energy every day. We don't have to wait for others to feed us ourselves positive energy.
That may never come.
Yeah, but we do go to seminars, we do go to office meetings and training and things like that, because that's positive energy.
Right.
But we can also do it on a personal basis through personal affirmations. And I'd like to share my personal affirmations. And please accept these within our each person's individual faith. I'm a powerful spirit. I'm receiving abundance in my life. I'm full of energy. I'm walking in joy. And then I'm a major contribution to others. I'm walking in abundance in my life. And I'm walking in the positive outcome.
I can tell you've said that a few times.
Yes.
So you told our group this morning that that's something you say to yourself every morning on the drive into work, right?
Yes.
And so when you're getting yourself, I wouldn't say pumped up, but in the right positive mindset to
Right.
approach the day.
Yes. I'm walking in joy.
Walking in joy,
Of
walking
being
in
a-
abundance.
Of being a contribution to others.
Mm-hmm.
And being proactive in life and being solutions, not just sitting in situations or talking about situations.
Love it. Focus on the positive.
You bet.
Lennox, you're an amazing guy.
All right,
Thank you so
Jim.
much for the interview.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right, there we nailed it.